So today we want to talk about healing the body, how we heal the body naturally. That's what we're going to teach you today. So, first of all, even just the word healing has sort of like, ooh, you can't say that. You can't promise healing. God forbid you can actually get better. You know? Like there are many things that, no, you can only... Yeah, no, you have to go to the doctor for that. So first of all, we have to comprehend what healing actually is. Healing is... It's not just well-being in the body. It's well-being in the mind too. Because you can't have a healthy body if you are adhering to stupidity dictated by the outside. You know? Like there is just some facts that we have to come to terms with, all of us as humans on this planet. And that is that how the human body works and how the energy system works. And once that becomes common knowledge, then it becomes ridiculous to implant these kind of things. You have to, and it's just a perpetual. People just do it out of fear. And so it needs to be recognized. That's the first thing. Just recognize what's actually going on. Recognize that, it's the thoughts. Distorted thoughts are creating distorted things in the body. It's not just that you can program a human being to do and act whatever you want without consequences. There's going to be consequences, of course. Because it's not just one human being creates the rest in energy. The same with you. The same with everyone around you. We're all co-creating this experience. And so whatever we choose to adhere to, if it's out of fear, it's because it's something hidden there. And, fear, if it's fear, we must not go there. Because fear is scary. No, fear needs to be felt. What is there? In honesty and truth, like what is there? What is the logic behind this? There has to be sense. How does all of this play into healing? Because it is when you are comprehending what true healing is. It's not that you just send some Reiki and send some energy. Ooh, heal. There is a comprehension that, depending on what it is, knee, joint, this area, that area, that has a particular meaning. And this seems to be fairy to many beings in the dualistic perspective that is very logically trained. Do you think that your body is an accident? Do you think that this whole system can be like this? If it's this compartmentalizing kind of thing, and you're eating food out of a box, when the actual reality is that food is all around in nature and there is a natural order to things. You know, it doesn't mean we have to go back to eating like that, but it's important that we take both into account. That's the balanced approach. It's not about alienating AI or the technological side either. It's about using it consciously. It's the consciousness behind what we're doing that is important. That is what dictates if we are manifesting beauty through our bodies. Because if we are feeling through the discomforts of the body, that is the goal, the gold that you are mining in yourself. If you knew how much it reveals about your next step to feel through a feeling, you would mine it like gold, because it is. It turns into gold because it clears up the energy pathways in a human being. When a human being's thought system is in alignment with truth. And we know that it may seem strange, but it is very much the teachings that yogis, ascended masters have done. This is not a new thing. But a mind that is trained can do miraculous things. Because once you have landed your energy, as if you are not your energy, because in many ways you are sort of not. Because whatever distortions that you have about reality gets, first of all, played out. That is your movie. It is a movie in that sense, from the soul's perspective. But then again, you have the body's perspective. Huh? You know, and if you are too attached to the body, you might be fearful. But if you have both of them in balance, knowing that you are aware, this is just the body's feelings. Okay, so I have to inject calm so that the body is calm, or so that the body doesn't jump to this thing or that thing, whatever the internal thing is, so that you are centered deep in your body, centered, like lean back is what that means. Many beings, what we're seeing is that many beings are hunched over. That is a crunching of the solar plexus chakra. You can see it in people's posture. The solar plexus then gets a little kink. And why that? Because there is mulling over stuff in the mind. You know? And so, first of all, know that everything matters. Posture matters. You see? Posture matters. Because there's energy flow. And when there's energy flow, you can feel more. But if you are crunched over, you are sort of squeezing even the energy flow. And just that can manifest kinks out there. That's why it's good to stand with your chest tall. It's like, it's pride, it's strength, but it's also peaceful and just self-centeredness. All of these things matter in energy and in healing, because it is that energy flow that you can use for whatever you want. You can use that energy flow to watch movies. You can use that energy flow, meaning your God-given focus. You can use that for many different things. But just know that whatever you are spending your time on, thinking about, you eventually become. Unless you are training and doing something every day to make sure that you are seeing this energy world correctly. You can manifest things. Of course, manifestation is wonderful. Manifesting from the mind is why is it work sometimes and sometimes not? Why does some things heal and sometimes not? Because you haven't seen what it is yet. You haven't opened up to recognize and see what the perspective shift needs to be. Sometimes in the beginning it takes a little bit digging. You know? It's like, first of all, check the holistic body.co if you haven't already, or if you're a portal member, that's included in your membership in the portal. And you can type in whatever body part that you have sensations that you're wondering about, and then it gives you the metaphysical meaning, something that it can be in energy, that it's sort of like it helps to guide the intuition. It's not directly, but we have used it many times. Lately, just a few days ago, actually. So, because this is the thing, when something manifests in your body and you don't know what it is, it can manifest outside as well in situations. Because Gaia knows you want to figure it out. And so what the natural flow is then is that, maybe it's something outside, and then that is the holistic meaning.co. That's when you check out outside stuff. But everything is pointing to the same thing. It's teaching you. This is how Gaia communicates. She communicates in feelings about the same things, so you don't have to go that long for it to manifest into a disease. That's what we do. We work on the energy body so that we are catching it pre. That's what we're doing. And we are correcting energy every single day. This is what healing is. Because in order for you to be a healed human being, meaning have full health, you have to look at this reality correctly. You have to look at what this is. You have to look at it clearly from the inside. You have to be inside of your body, accurately knowing, having because you are the one actually steering the ship. Many beings are being steered by just habits. And that's not you in control. That's habits in control. You know, if you have impulses to get angry or cry a lot, or these are impulses. Sometimes it's just narrative thoughts being injected by the habits. Everything matters when it comes to healing the body, because we have to look at what it is in totality. We can't just look at the head and look at the little finger and look at the arm individually. We have to look at the whole energy flow. And when you have trained your mind to see, because unfortunately we have been so mistrained that if you want to get back into it, at least in this lifetime, because this is what you do take with you, the spiritual knowledge that you do take with you, because your soul is just advanced, if it is. You know, many of you are very advanced, but there is a little click, and that click is the harmony between the knower and the feeler. And we see this constantly. We see the debates about it, like the intellectual spiritual against sort of the emotional spiritual, more body focused. And that's like duality, just dressed in spirituality. You know, that's just what it is. In reality, it's duality. Even they talk about spirituality. You know, like we have to look at that balance, because unless there is a connection between the knower and the feeler, the soul and the body, and the soul has learned what this is and actually can operate their body correctly. It's more like looking after an animal truly, but not from a place of dominance or control, from a place of love, but also from a place of embodiment, that you feel what the animal feels, that you can communicate in that way. You can, when you develop this bond, you don't need to tell your dog off. You will be like one. You can use telepathy to communicate with your dog. These are the evidence of where people are at in frequency. It's just a fact. We can see it. It's there. And so if you are self-reflecting, you go, I see. Let me not fool myself. Let me at least recognize that, I see. Okay. Those things matter. Everything matters in your consciousness. If you want to change your life, change your frequency, everything matters. Because you will be able to read it. And it's the same energy. You're either letting the energy out or not. That's it. And if you're letting out distortions, your life is heading in a distorted way. But if you start to train, feel, do something different, try something different, change your perspective of what you think you're seeing. Because once you have this Healing happens when the body is in the right environment for it. And for that, you have to be the one in charge of the body. Not looking for a husband or a wife or this one or whatever. That is energy leakage. There is a way to come together, but that it's soul aligned. It's a whole different thing. Because then there is a mission. It's mission driven. It's soul driven. You are following that. You're not giving so much directions other than helping people to get back online. You see? You're not just, this is what you do. You just, this is what you do. We are practicing this balance every single day. This balance is something that we have worked for. And this, when you truly get to shift the focus so that you are more predominantly, this is why meditation is so wonderful, because you are finally then using your focus on your body. If you are, that's the meditation that's really, really beneficial, because you are literally giving yourself healing. Your focus, your attention is used for one thing. Can you guess what that is? It's to produce more. It produces more of whatever it is that you are focused on. And so if you are allowing sort of the outside to dictate what you should focus on. Oh, hey, look here. Oh, hey, buy me. Oh, what about this? Blah, 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 blah. And then you're suddenly swimming in just one consciousness, which is just like this outside swirl of just being bounced around. But when you feel, when you have switched and you more predominantly operate your life from inside, having harmonized your life, that you're not kidding yourself, you know, but that you are looking at your habits. Where am I speaking when it's not God speaking? Because then you're just wasting energy. Unless it's something productive, like, okay, we are doing this, we're going to move here. You know, like, of course, like, we're not, but a lot of the time people are just blah, 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 blah. About nothing, really. Let it be about something. That is what the soul cares about. The forward movement. Okay, I want to do this. And that's a wonderful thing. Know. To know what you want, what drives you. But we're sort of we're talking about healing here. What? Yeah, there's a lot of different things that wants to be shared sometimes. Like a little bit here, a little bit there, you know? But yeah, all of what we have experienced today has been quite something. We had our session yesterday, which was the first sort of group session in person. that we've done. Not really group session, but in this regard. And we noticed that today we experienced the effects of the gratitude of what we did, sort of like rewards, or like it was very interesting, like our energy system got an upgrade because of that. This is what healing does. Like more healing creates more healing. It just builds on itself. This is why we are here to make new habits within ourselves, is to stop this freaking codependency where we're sort of being codependent with our energy towards other beings, but that we're self-fueling our energy with our focus, right? Because when you focus, when you use your focus, and if you have twisted perceptions, that's going to manifest. The twisted perception is going to manifest. And it's things like, you're not speaking up for yourself. You're speaking too much. Like if you're just speaking crap, that's usually like what is the sentiment of why you're speaking? Like that's a really good gauge to find out. Because these are like, they are fundamental. But these smaller things, like you have to have the fundamentals correct so that these smaller things can just correct themselves out. And so when you're speaking, let's say if you're just speaking to be liked, then identify that. If you're speaking because you want it your way and you're frustrated, like just identify those things. What are the patterns? Because it's more about getting into a flow of, there are ways that you can use your body that is not like that. It's like we are starting to think very differently because of all of the Gaia sessions that we've now done. And we're starting to experience the life much, much differently. And we see so clearly who is embodied and who is not. It's a completely different thing. It's like we are seeing with our feelings. And that's how animals operate. That's why we feel so connected to animals, because we're very embodied. They're very embodied. People, not so much. They're not so embodied. You see? Or they're running around, which, people have their habits, and that's okay. People have the habitual rhythms that from the perspective that they see, that they operate in. We want you to see bigger things, bigger cycles, perhaps, because sometimes it's not so intermediate. It's not so fast. When you do it, when something manifests, but when your intention is to get to know more, and you know now how it works, when you start to practice every single day is when you solidify these beliefs that we're talking about, and you have to ingrain that. It's like you have to convince yourself that this is the thing, which for us it has been very easy. It's taken time, but it's been very easy because we saw very clearly that, like, this world is a bit crazy. Don't tell anyone. So we kind of got that quite early on. So we just, And that was our, like, a silly thing, really. But it was like not so silly, because it was a big realization, and we had some acid reflux, and we went to the doctor and did that whole shebang. We're telling it really fast because I believe we have said it before. But eventually the doctors gave a prescription just to a medicine. Like, I was naive. I was thinking, oh, doctors, because that's all what they talked about. These doctors, they knew everything. Oh, you just go to the doctor. Oh, you just go to the doctor. And now you can't even do anything without hearing that, oh yeah, but you should go, see your specialist if you really have problems, type of thing. Like, it's a mind virus that is not rooted in reality. It's almost like a marketing scheme, is what you can kind of call it. It's very interesting. However, I get that this is the way the system is set up right now, and I get that there is a level of control that is going on to perpetuate this, as if that is healing. At the end of the day, it's like, it's a lot of business, Okay, let's get back on track. And so when you combine that, let's do it, actually. Let's do it. When you combine that with breathing, when you know what things are, breathing enhances the energy field. And it clears away a lot of distorted energy. That's what it does. So if it would be up to us, we can feel those things. And so we then have to clear, cleanse, breathe, and just sometimes there are energy formations that create sort of scenarios that is not even true. That is sort of like overlays that you seem like you're walking into in energy form. Have you experienced that? Those are hindering healing too. The only thing, and this is usually happens when you're fixated out there. If you have clarified your field, you're not exempt from this. You're going around and you're feeling this one and that one and feeling what's going on. And if you engage, then you sort of commingle a little bit more, and then the more you invest in that, the more it's sort of, unless you are a little bit cautious. This is why it's good to be cautious with your energy in the beginning when you walk this path. Just because, not cautious, but like just we just remember that we have seen the world so very differently. And we were very naive about how things worked. And so you have so much to look forward to when you start to adhere to this way of thinking. It's a very new perspective. It's being channeled every single day. Joshua and the team, we are both changing perspectives, and we are working on healing the body, because it's not every single time that it's like as powerful, but sometimes you hit these, oh, my body really needed this type of thing, and then it just unlocks so much. And we have had some really deepenings of veins sort of from the root chakra down our legs being formed the last week because of all the work that we have done. We're channeling every single day, whatever comes up. So either it's some profound knowledge from them, or we are diving into some topic and we are dissecting it and putting it in the right order in your consciousness. And so all you have to do is listen to one each day, and then you start to adjust more and more to this way of being, which is more in alignment with your body and your body's well-being and your health. It's about catching what you're actually doing, catching how you're using your energy, catching thoughts before they're in your head, or just catching them as, maybe not before, but like, yeah, you can, in feeling. Your body can sense them before they get that far. But these are steps of awakening to more of your energy. This is why, because we are all the soul here, and the game that we're on is to land the soul through the body. That's the game. That's the game that you're really on. You might be thinking that it's something else, but that's the real game that you're on. Because once you do that, that's when abundance and everything shines on you. You know, that's when you're in alignment. So this was a little bit about healing. We find this is a very important topic, because I think it's important that we start to talk about this and do this in a way that we can actually all heal, you know, that we don't have some arbitrary force out there that we should adhere to. No, that we self-regulate, that we learn how our bodies truly function, and we become really acute and picky, if we want to, about who we let into our space, because it's a sacred space that you're creating with yourself. In a world full of lies, if you create your sacred temple, that is powerful for you. And you are the only one that can protect that space. And that is what we are teaching. It is self-empowerment and the embodiment, the true embodiment of light, and how you ascend in frequency. We have now developed also an ascension calendar where you can literally see the energy cycles of Gaia to the best of what we have seen depicted, which is the Tzolk'in. And there's been some interpretations that we have baked in to a very simple graphical interface that you will see the day and the progress of the 28 days. You will see the day's energy. You will see the solar energy, and you can hover over them or click on them to see what it is. And so when these things synchronize, then that's powerful days, and one of those days is today. This is the last day of a 10 portal days in a row, and it is the completion of this 28 days. And there is also, this is the day of the heart. It's a heart chakra day. And this is a very special day. I've received some upgrades today, and I feel very grateful. And so with that, celebrating this, the end of the 28 days. And we're starting again tomorrow with day 1 of the next wave that we're not sure what's going to be right now. We usually receive that on the day tomorrow, so we'll see what that's going to be about. But we're very, very excited about what that's going to be. And so this month, or these 28 days that comes to a completion now, they will be released to all the full access members very soon. So by tomorrow or the next day, something like that, we are releasing that to all of you. And if you want to join us to shift in frequency, there's links below. And if you want to have a much more personalized experience, we have that option as well. But join from the portal. You'll find all the information from there. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll talk to you again in the next one.